Mayor, I'd like to call the regular meeting of the Elmwood Park Mayor and Council to order for May 15th, 2014 at 8 p.m. On roll call, council members Coletti.
Here.
Dombrowski.
Here.
Martino.
Here.
Pedagano.
Here.
Boncino.
Here.
Catamagna.
Here.
Mayor Mola.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Will everyone please rise for our prayer and flag salute? Oh God, our Father, we ask you to bless this meeting with we trust your fatherly care and protection. Please remove all selfishness and prejudice from our hearts and implant the kingdom and implant therein a keen sense of justice and a greater love for you and our neighbor. Guide us in our deliberations so our decisions will always please you and bring peace and happiness to our community. Amen. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Whereas Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of the State of New Jersey requires the commencement of each meeting, now therefore be advised, the meeting requires of this meeting have been met by posting an annual notice in the Record of Hackensack, at Herald News of Woodland Park, and by posting such notice in the office of the Borough Clerk, as well as in a public place within the municipal building and notifying interested citizens. Said notice was posted on January 1, 2014. Ladies and gentlemen, this meeting is being videoed. It'll be on cable, channel 77, Tuesday, 12 noon, Thursday, 4 p.m., Friday, 10 a.m., or you can see it on our website. Thank you.
Mayor, at this time, we'll consider Resolution 158-14, appointment of Chief Michael Foligno. Be it resolved by the Mayor and Council of the Borough of Elmwood Park that the following named be and is hereby appointed as Police Chief of the Elmwood Park Police Department at a base salary of $187,500. Michael Foligno. Be it further resolved that said appointment is made provisionally in accordance with the Department of Personnel rules and regulations, and be it further resolved that the effective date of this appointment is May 15th, 2014. Mayor will need a motion.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Boncino, second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Martino. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Coletti.
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Pedagano.
Yes.
Boncino.
Yes.
Catamagna.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope we continue the decorum we have right now. Otherwise, I'd be forced to call the police to come up and get order here. And I don't want to do that because there's no one in our police department. They're all here. May I have our new police chief come in, please?
Mayor, at this time, I'd like to introduce, as escorted by the Elmwood Park Police Department Honor Guard, our new Chief of Police, Michael Foligno. Mayor, at this time, I'd ask the members of the Foligno family to come forward for Michael's installation. Everyone can be seated.
Before you get started, I just want to ask all the members of the Elmwood Park Police Department to come up here and share this moment with me and my family. Without you guys, this is not possible. We're going to do this together. We're a team. I want everybody up here.
You may want to come up here. I'll stay right here. Why don't you guys line up in front, and then we'll see if we can fit everybody in.
Yeah, I can't see. I got the line back in front of me.
Well, I'm ready.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'm offended by those. Yeah, short people. Yeah, short people. His family. Where's Dean?
Repeat after me, please. I, Michael Foligno,
I, Michael Foligno,
do solemnly swear
solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
that I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments
and to the governments
established in the United States
established in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people,
under the authority of the people.
and that I will faithfully,
And I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
and justly perform
the duties of the office,
the duties of the office,
police chief,
police chief,
so help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations. I'm going to have one recommendation, that the pin goes down and not this way. Thank you. Thank you very much, Emma. I think that that's a comment by our new police chief to have all of you up here is an indication of unity on our police force and to do a great job as you are doing now for the coming years. Michael, you have any comments you want to make, or we just dismiss everybody and then you can make it?
Okay.
What I would suggest, I think we need a microphone. We can come here and then please. Why don't you all go back? Thank you, fellas.
Safe, gentlemen.
I'll be brief. I just want to thank everyone for coming. I want to recognize a few individuals. The police chiefs that I had the honor to serve under are in attendance tonight. Chief Byron Morgan, Chief Ryan Vasilino, Deputy Chief John Palmieri, and Chief Tom Johnson. Also recognize Chief Cowles from Fairlawn. I'm sorry if I forgot anyone. Thank you to the Mayor and Council. I feel blessed and honored that you have trusted me to fulfill this position. I promise that I will give not only the community, the Mayor and Council, but all these men and women of the police department 100% effort every single day that I am the police chief. I can't promise that there won't be bumps in the road, but we're going to work through that as a team. As I showed, we're united, and credit to these guys. They do a fantastic job, and they make it easy to take over this position. Thank you for everyone. My family, without them, my beautiful wife and my great children and my dad, I'm such a better person because of them. Thank you for coming, and thank you for supporting me. Thank you.
We also have Chief Casper of Oakland here. Is he here? Okay. Chief Fennell of Fort Lee. Captain Quinhoff of Lodi. Lieutenant Burke of the State Police. That's our Lieutenant Burke. Chief Amos from Garfield. And former Councilman Bob Kasai. At this point, I'm going to ask for any council comments.
Yes, Mayor. Today, we mark a career milestone for Michael Foligno. And not only a special day for he and his family, but for our department and for our community as a whole. Mike was born and raised in Elmwood Park, the son of Carmen Foligno and the late Diana Foligno. I'm sure his parents are extremely proud of his life's accomplishments. Mike attended St. Leo's School, Elmwood Park Memorial High School, and Bergen Community College. He graduated from the Bergen County Police Academy's class number 64 in 1990. He received awards for top academic recruit and physical fitness excellence. He is a certified fatal accident reconstruction specialist and was selected by the Bergen County Prosecutor's Office Fatal Accident Investigation Unit in 1993. Mike was promoted to sergeant in 1999, to lieutenant in 2001, to detective captain in 2012, and now chief in 2014. Mike, to you and your wife Marcella and your children Olivia, Jake, and Emily, congratulations on the promotion, and on behalf of the mayor and council and as police liaison, wish you only success as you officially take command of our police department. I am confident that the fine men and women in blue, as well as the entirety of the residents of Elmwood Park, are in good and capable hands. Congratulations.
Any other comments? Councilman Dombrowski?
Thank you, Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen, how appropriate today is that Chief Foligno gets sworn in. This happens to be Police Week. The week of this, May 11th through the 17th, happens to be Police Week. Actually, and today, purposely, the 15th is actually Peace Officers Day. So to all the officers from all over, from not only Elmwood Park, from other towns, we thank you for all that you do. And I just think it's such an appropriate day that we're making our chief on Police Week and Peace Officers Day on the 15th of May. And that's been going on since 1962. Many people don't even realize that. But the government put it into effect in 1962, October of 1962 to be exact. And we're very proud of Michael, your accomplishments. As Councilman Bonsino said, you grew up in this town, you were educated in this town, and it looks like you're going to retire in this town. Thank you for what you do. Thank you.
Well, Mayor, I don't know about you, but I'm starting to feel old. This is the fourth chief that I'll be serving with. And how many for you, Mayor?
Continue.
Michael, it's good to see you achieved your goals. It's good to see the young fellas that started out, and I was here when they started out and reaching the pinnacle of their career to a certain point, because there's still higher offices you can go to, maybe sheriff someday, hopefully. Not too soon, though. Stay with us a while.
5 years. 5 years. 5 years.
5 years. 5 years. Right. But with that said, we start out, we set up short-term goals, and then short-term goals lead to our long-term goals, and we reach that plateau, and it's a great moment for you and your parents. It's got to be a tremendous feeling that their son had achieved this goal. And I can feel that you're going to do good, and I'm looking forward to working with you.
Anyone else who wants to make comments?
Yes.
Mr. Martino?
I've only been in this seat a little over 5 months. I've gotten to know Chief on a personal basis, and what I've noticed about him is he truly cares about the elderly, the children, and everyone else. I've been to a few meetings with him. It goes to show that we as a town, we were great with Chief Johnson, and right now we're going to even be better, because the safety in this town is most important for the kids and the elderly everyone in between. Thank you. Hope you have a long service here.
Any other comments?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Mike, congratulations. I look around and it makes me proud that you came up through our ranks, and it makes me very confident that we have a fantastic force here. The cream always rises to the top, and here's a good example. So I want to thank all you officers out there. I live in town, of course. I wouldn't have been voted in, but I feel safe in our town, and all the officers always look very professional, and I know you're going to hold that standard and continue, and I want to thank you again and your family and everybody that is here. Thank you.
Thank you.
My turn. Thank God. The last, I guess, would be, you saved
The best for
for the
last.
last, is that right?
Yes, I
Mike,
agree with you. I agree with you 100%. I'm
I
going to be
didn't realize
last.
the mayor was to speak after.
The mayor's still got to go.
Mike, really, I know you many years already. I had the lucky to have your daughter in my class, a wonderful young lady, Olivia. Look at her now. She used to be a little baby as a lady. Very proud of you. And I'm very proud of you, Mike. Since I know you always had your smile, you always work very hard, find you very intelligent. And I wish you the best. I know you will do a great job. And you're a proud person. You're a short guy, but very tough. I like that. Mike, good luck to you. And I wish you stay with us longer. Thank you.
My comments to you, God bless you. All's been said that has to be said. I know you're going to do a good job. I look at your size, I look at my size, and we see eye to eye. At this time, I don't see him here, but Father Mike is here. Father Mike, will you please come up? Father Mike from St. Leo's Church.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Almighty and eternal God, with the light of your divine wisdom, direct and guide Chief of Police Michael Foligno. Let your justice guide him, so that he may always seek to be both fair and equitable. Let your mercy be ever present, so that his decisions may bring about civil peace and community safety. Let your compassion motivate and shine forth in all his actions, so that those seeking justice may find a person willing to listen and fairly discern. May he always be knowledgeable of the law, and more importantly, understanding of the human condition. May he help bring about a society which seeks to preserve the rule of law and moral living. Heavenly Father, be with Michael Foligno as he assumes his duties as Chief of Police. Help him to faithfully serve the needs of the borough of Elmwood Park. We ask you to be generous with the blessings you bestow upon him and protect him from all harm. And Almighty God bless him and our community. Amen.
Thank you, Father Mike. At this point, there are going to be some refreshments down in the all-purpose room downstairs. I'm going to ask for a 5-minute recess and invite all of you on Mike's behalf to go down and enjoy and congratulate him. Thank you. May I have a motion to recess for 5 minutes? So moved by Mr. Coletti, second by Mr. Vocino. All in favor, opposed, so ordered. Thank you and congratulations, Chief.
Mayor, on roll call to reconvene the council meeting, council members Coletti,
Here?
Dombrowski.
Here.
Martino.
Here.
Pettigano.
Here.
Bonsino.
Here.
Caramagna.
Here.
Mayor Mola.
Here.
We have a quorum. Mayor, moving on to the approval of minutes, we have the April 10th, 2014 work session and the May 8th, 2014 executive session.
May I have a motion, please?
So move.
Mr. Caramagna, second.
Second.
Mr. Pettigano, any discussion? All in favor? I'll call the roll. Call the roll.
On roll call, council members Coletti.
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Pettigano.
Yes.
Bonsino.
Yes.
Caramagna.
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, this evening, under the introduction of ordinances, we have Resolution 159-14, introduce ordinance 14-11 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled a bond ordinance to appropriate an additional sum of $209,000 for the making of various public improvements in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such an appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, be passed and adopted on first reading. And be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, June 5th, 2014, at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Move.
Moved by Mr. Dombrowski, second by Mr. Caramagna. Any discussion? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Coletti.
Yes.
Dombrowski.
Yes.
Martino.
Yes.
Pettigano.
Yes.
Bonsino.
Yes.
Caramagna.
Yes.
Motion carries. Also on introduction tonight, we have Resolution 160-14, introduce ordinance 14-12 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled a bond ordinance to authorize the rehabilitation of sanitary sewer pump station number 6 and the replacement and extension of sanitary sewer force mains in conjunction therewithin by and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $2,355,000 to pay for the cost thereof, and to make a down payment to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriations, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, be passed and adopted on first reading. And be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, June 5th, 2014 at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter as the same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Dombrowski, second.
Second.
Mr. Martino, I'm sorry. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. First, this is an important project for the borough. It will address capacity issues at the pump station at Market and the Boulevard, and upgrade sewer mains along Market Street to handle the flow from the upgraded pump station. This bond ordinance represents a significant expenditure for the borough. This ordinance, along with this evening's road program, amounts to some $3 million. Due to some outstanding questions that need to be vetted with our borough engineer, I'm going to abstain this evening. The questions in my mind that are still outstanding are as follows. As you're aware, we have a new engineer this year in the borough, and the estimate he provided is based heavily on the design and construction plans and estimates from our previous engineer. Given that we've had this change in engineers, I have a concern relative to who owns this project and where the responsibility rests with respect to the ultimate realization of improved performance at the pump station. I want to see our current engineer sign up to the performance parameters we expect to achieve from this investment. In other words, in short, I don't want to end up spending $2.4 million and then have finger pointing later on. Secondly, the total project, including engineering and contingency, is approximately $2.4 million. The construction estimate is $2 million, while the engineering costs are $400,000. As previously stated, it's a significant project. What is interesting when you look through the proposal is that there's some $435,000 of uncertainty and contingency in the estimate. That's enough to pave 10 more roads in the borough. I would think that a project like this isn't the first time we've undertaken something like that, and we'd be able to sharpen our pencils a bit to get a better handle on the cost. You know, we're going to bond $2.4 million, and I liken it to my son asking me for some money before he's going to the movie. He tells me the movie's going to be $8 and he wants to get something to eat, give me 20. I never see $5 come back at the end of the evening. I just want to make sure we have an accurate handle on what the cost of this project is going to be. And finally, we have yet to be presented with any grant opportunities that would offset the cost of this project. I believe the engineer has an action to investigate grant opportunities. In the past, we've successfully leveraged grants when we've undertaken infrastructure projects. So I would hope that during next week's work meeting, we'll have a fruitful discussion on these 3 items with our borough engineer. We could get closure on the issue and move forward. So tonight, I'm going to abstain until I get some clarity.
Mayor, if I may.
Yes, Mr.
Now, I too have some reservations at this particular moment in time about this project. And my colleague, I thought that was summing it all up when he referred to sending his kid to the movies and asking the kid to bring back change. You know that's never going to happen. So it's important now when we set these budget lines and bonding lines that all that are concerned with the project don't think this is an open check. This project probably is the largest undertaking this town ever has seen without grant money assistance. Over $2,300,000. I have asked the town engineer, Alimo, to revisit the former town's engineer's calculations and make sure within the parameters of this project that the new pump station and pipe work will be sufficient and go beyond a storm like Sandy, where we experienced our backup problems. I additionally asked Alimo to see where savings could be had without jeopardizing the integrity of the project, including his fees. When he has answered those requests, I can then consciously vote on this project. Until then, I will also abstain.
Any other comments?
Yes, Mayor, if I may. Ladies and gentlemen, every one of the council members up here, I believe, went with our Director of Public Works to the pump station and looked at the situation. It is a very, very severe situation that we're coming across. And yes, this is a very significant amount of money that we're bonding. But remember, a bond doesn't mean you're necessarily going to take the money. This is just an opportunity to bond it out there to make sure if we have to go do it in an emergency, we have the money. But we're hoping that it doesn't come to an emergency. I want you to understand that the borough engineer prior to Boswell, who was our prior engineer and now Alimo, they both concur that this project needs to be done basically from soup to nuts, and that means fixing the force main that leads into the major pump station, and that's where this money came from. Originally last year it was offered up by Boswell just to do the pump station for 1 point something, and quite frankly the report that we received was you really can't do one without the other. And if we did one without the other, coming up with the fact that we're doing a Market Street streetscape, it would make no sense just to do the pump station, do the streetscape, and then rip up the road again to do the force main. So I understand the issues of my fellow council members, and I just want you to know we're bonding the money doesn't necessarily mean we're taking the money. But this is what it will cost. And even the Director of Public Works came in and spoke to us individually as well as a group and explained to us this is a major, major issue in town. This pump station takes all sewerage from Orchard Street all the way over to Cherry Hill, okay? If this backs up, those people will have sewerage in their basement. And there's a very good possibility that this can happen. They have to be there daily to make sure that this station is working properly. This is a very large investment. I agree, okay? But it's also, in my mind, very necessary. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes, Mayor. I agree, it's a lot of money. In the past, with Boswell, we spent also millions of dollars when they created the slope, if you remember, when they changed all the pumps on this side of the town. It was, we talk about, maybe this is not maybe the largest amount. I remember over $3 million that we spent. I will double check this. And, well, we know it's a lot of money. We always concerned, we don't want to spend all this money. We don't want to bond all this money. Really, we're supposed to give a break to our taxpayers. One thing is, this is necessary to do because when the sewer backs up, it's right in front of St. Leo. If you guys saw raw sewer on the roads, I saw that many times already. And we always address this. This has to be fixed. This job has to be done. We all concerned about the amount of money we're going to spend. I understand that. And I agree with them. It's a lot of money, but I don't know. I'm not an engineer. So this is the first reading. I'm going to vote for this. And we have, before the next reading, we'll meet the engineer again. And they want more specific. I think Mr. Bonzino already asked the engineer many, many questions. This is a complete work. Boswell gave us just repair one part of this work. He didn't give us the total amount. You know, we know that Boswell agrees with our engineer. So really, it's nothing that was made up. As I say, it's a lot of money. Guys, if you come to a work section, we are able to ask questions to a dual engineer. I think they're doing a fine job. These guys are great. That's all I have to say. But the job has to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. I personally didn't hear anything about saying not doing the project.
Mayor, may I say something?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You forget me once in a while. I won't make $2.3 million in my lifetime. From the time I started working when I was 12 to hopefully another 10 years. I can't even count that high. But at the end of the day, if the people a lot smarter than me say we need this project because of the damage that can happen to these homes, I think we have to listen to them, because I'm the last person who wants my taxes raised, because I'm a taxpayer also. 2.3 million sounds obscene, those numbers, but if that's the number that it takes to correct the town going forward, and I'll quote Scott Cars, 1/3 of the town will be in raw sewage. I don't know what that means. I have to go to him because he's an expert. If 1/3 of the town is in jeopardy of having raw sewage, if something breaks, we have to go forward with it. As much as I would hate spending this kind of money, we have to do it because the town has to be safe. If that station does go, we're going to spend a lot more money in cleanups and going backwards and fixing it and fixing it and fixing it. Unfortunately, we have to do it. This wasn't a choice. This has to be done.
Anyone else? Thank you. I didn't hear anyone say they don't want to go along with the project. I've heard want to try to save some money, and let's, as the statement was, let's sharpen some pencils and see if we need anything this large, if we can bring it down a little bit. Quite frankly, it was estimated that it's going to cost us about $150,000 just for police overtime. I think we have to look into that to see with our new chief whether we can change that around a little bit and save some money with our police overtime on Market Street. There's a problem there. There's no question about it. It's got to be fixed. But 2.3 is the largest we've ever had. I may be wrong, but I believe it's the largest we've ever had. We have $4 million, $5 million with the school board budget. The referendum that was passed came out to 10. State gave us some money. I think Mr. Boncino is correct. Let's see if we can find any money from the state or anywhere else we can get grants. So you have the school, and there's going to be another increase from the school next year because they put off part of the project for next year. And we have this project, road program coming in, starting to add up. The dollars are starting to add up. I think we just have to look at it a little bit more closely. No one is saying we're not going to fix it. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. Mr. Boncino is. Maybe we don't need the size, the capacity. Maybe we can do it a little bit less and do it part-time or whatever they want to do. But I think it's good that we're looking at it and asking some more questions. It's important. Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Coletti,
Abstain?
Dombrowski,
I'm voting yes, but I question the abstention of my colleagues. We're not taking possession of this money unless we spend it. Certainly, it's your right to abstain, but I question it.
Thank you for that.
Hey, let's have just the vote, please.
Yes.
Martino,
Yes.
Pettigano,
Yes.
Bonsino,
I'm going to abstain this evening.
Caravaggio.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution R-161-14, introduce ordinance 14-13 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled a bond ordinance to authorize the 2014 road resurfacing program in, by, and for the Borough of Elmwood Park in the County of Bergen, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $599,000 to pay the cost thereof, to make a down payment, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds, be passed and adopted on first reading. And be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, June 5th, 2014 at 8 p.m. or as soon thereafter as same can be heard, at which time and place any person interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Catamagna, second.
Second.
I'm sorry,
Martino.
Martino. Any discussion?
Yes, Mayor. It's just an observation, really, relative to the road program. It caught my eye. We've identified 10 roads in town that are going to be addressed in 2014 road program. The total construction cost was some $500,000, and the engineering cost was nearly $100,000, 20% of the construction cost. If I go back to the pump station, the construction cost on the pump station was approximately $2 million, and the engineering cost was $400,000. Again, 20% of the construction cost. The majority decided to change our engineering professional by pitching a cost savings to the borough. In fact, time was spent comparing the engineering and administrative labor rates between the two firms. If I recall correctly, estimated between a 20 and 25% savings to the borough based on a reduced labor rate. But I contend that we'll never realize that savings because engineering costs are based on a percentage of the construction project. So it's a fixed dollar amount based on the construction, and we'll never see that savings because that's the way municipal engineering estimates their engineering work. Perhaps my colleagues can go back to the engineering firm and have them provide task-based estimates with hours for each task, and maybe then, between this and the pump station, we could find $100,000 in engineering savings, 20%. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Any other comments? Call the roll, please.
On roll call, council members Coletti,
Abstain?
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Martino,
Yes.
Pettigano,
Yes.
Bonsino,
Yes.
Catamagna.
Yes.
Motion carries. Resolution 162-14, introduce ordinance 14-14 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled An Ordinance to Amend Chapter 2, Article 5, Section 2-37 of the Code of the Borough of Elmwood Park, entitled Board of Recreation Commissioners, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that a final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, June 5th, 2014 at 8 p.m. or soon thereafter as the same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Yeah, motion, please.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion, we table this ordinance.
Motion to table.
Second?
Table. Second. Call the roll, please.
Can I?
No comments on the table.
This is a roll call to table the ordinance. Council members Coletti,
Yes.
Dombrowski,
No.
Martino,
No.
Pettigano,
No.
Bonsino,
Yes.
Catamagna.
No.
Motion to table fails.
Any comments on the ordinance?
Mayor, we'll need a motion to
We didn't do that yet?
adopt, to
Motion
introduce
to
the
adopt,
ordinance.
please.
So moved.
Mr. Dombrowski, second.
A second.
Mr. Catamagna, any discussion?
Mayor, I would just like to say the amending of this ordinance does not mean the elimination of any member from the Recreation Board. We're just restructuring how monies will be spent. There are a lot of issues in the old ordinance that I have, which was brought to light last year, and that is the reason I am moving forward on this, because I don't believe that people who are politically picked or are in out of their expertise, such as some rec members are. I would like to see this rec board become what it was originally meant to do, and that was to help the rec director take care of events and sporting events in Elmwood Park. Our advisory board will have all these capacities, will have a lot of input. We are just eliminating the state statute, which I feel gives too much power to volunteers in our town, and it puts the purse strings back in the council's chambers, where I think it belongs. The rec director will also have more levity with the change of this, but of course, she does need help, and that's why we would not want to eliminate any of the people on the rec commission, because they have been of help to her. This, to me, is is more business than it is anything else. I feel as though we can get into trouble, and that's probably why 85% of all municipalities in Bergen County have an advisory board and not a rec commission. And that's all I have to say, Mayor.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other comments?
Yes, Mayor, if I may.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's only been about the last 3 or 4 years that the Rec Commission realized that they were a state statute board. It was always on the books that they were a state statute board. That is true. However, it was always run as though it was basically run by the mayor and the council, and basically what we're trying to do is bring it back to the way everybody thought it was when it was brought out years ago. You know, when we had Rec Director Mr. DeMauro, he ran it and came to the mayor and the council for everything, and discussions and things like that. And basically, the state statute gives the power to the members of the commission, and that's the Rec Commission. What that means is that we hire a rec director, we, the borough, hire a rec director, and yet they can fire her. And I don't think, or him, I don't think that that's fair. Has it happened? No. Could it happen? Yes. And this is basically a maintenance. This is bringing it back so that that cannot happen. The other thing is that they have control of how much money that they pay somebody. There has been an issue where someone got paid more than the minimum borough wage. And that created an issue within the borough, within some of our workers. So what we're trying to do is we're bringing it back so that doesn't happen again. We have other commissioned boards in our community that people are up in arms about. You know, we have issues with the library board. There's some issues with some of the health boards. So the state statute, it doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to perform the job that they're currently doing. We're just taking back some of the things that they control, and that generally is basically the hiring and firing, and somehow some of the allocations of money. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yes, Mayor.
Mr. Boncino.
Members of the, thank you, Mayor. Members of the majority have introduced this ordinance that will govern the borough's Parks and Recreation Department. As was described, we currently operate under the state statute as it pertains to Parks and Recreation. The state statute contains some 29 sections that relate to parks and recreations. This ordinance that was introduced tonight has 3. 29 versus 3. So I wonder, and I asked last week, what is being allowed to fall through the cracks in the haste to get this ordinance introduced? The lack of open discussion between all stakeholders doesn't make that apparent, that we've thoroughly vetted this. This ordinance has been their top priority in 2014, and I cannot understand why, considering the work of our rec commission, our rec director, the strength of our recreation program. We have dedicated, hardworking people that act as stewards for our parks and recreation. In my tenure on council, there's been no significant issue ever brought to the governing body. So what's the urgency? I first thought it was cover for the contrived Cherry Hill issue that was brought up during last year's campaign. If you recall, on the night we were voting on open space for English Ave, we were treated to a sky is falling presentation regarding the conditions of Cherry Hill Park. But not once this year was there ever an effort to meet between the governing body, the rec director, and commission to address any specific concerns over Cherry Hill. But for some 5 months, this ordinance was held out over everybody's head. And all the while, keeping our community's English Ave project and grant money in limbo to the point where we could lose that money now. So I'm still wondering what the urgency is. I reviewed the ordinance. The ordinance is supposed to address many issues in our community, but they can point to no specifics. There's talk of power and control. We heard power and control tonight, but yet no specific problems that negatively impact our residents. In reviewing 3 of the paragraphs, I see things like the director serves at the pleasure of the mayor and council, or the advisory board will advise the mayor and council of how to utilize the trust fund. I hear power, control, and money, and a red flag goes up in my mind when I hear those words together. What may be coming next? Now, I'll concede that there may be issues we have to address. You know, everything could be improved, whether it's roles and responsibilities, authority, but doing it in this fashion where we don't have all the stakeholders involved is not the right way to do it. We need to thoroughly vet what we're doing today, the state statute, what is being proposed, with our recreation director, with our entire rec commission, and with the entire governing body. And we shouldn't do it in a half hour before a work meeting. We should have a special meeting to discuss it openly and follow-up meetings to close any actions. Unless we do this, passing this ordinance as presently conceptualized could have a significant impact on our community. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
If I may, Mayor?
Yes.
We have a rec commission here tonight that is being disbanded after 40-plus years of existence by a 3-2 council vote. 2/3 of that majority vote has less than 3 total years of council experience. Our rec department is renowned throughout the county as one to follow. My colleagues on this council all agree that the board members are doing a good job and should remain and fulfill their terms. So it seems the only major changes that will occur by going to the committee versus the current commission are the power to hire and fire and total control of finances. So we go from our trustees, who are comprised of former coaches, commissioners, managers, and administrators, subsequently to a council who may not have those qualities and could be driven by personal or political retribution. So what's next? Are we going to take over the school board, planning board, zoning board, health board? That's not democracy. It lends itself to dictatorship. That's not what our forefathers had in mind when they created the laws of this great nation. Gentlemen, it isn't broke, why fix it?
Any other comments?
Yeah, Mayor, this statute was put together, or the ordinance was introduced back in 1969. Back in 1969, they had the mindset to eliminate certain passages from this ordinance, and for good reason. The one passage that was removed that we were going to resubmit into the ordinance last year was that the Rec Commission can purchase and lease property in Elmwood Park. As far as I'm concerned, this is a commission. They have all the right to do these things that are in this statute, and this is the reason why I'm voting to change this. I could see problems in the future, and I've seen some problems in the past. We've gone through that, though. So nothing is going to change my mind as far as whether or not we change this. I think it's a managing thing that I have spoken to many residents who agree. They don't want to see the money controlled in this manner. And we're moving forward because we had people come to us when we were campaigning, many people, and question many of the things we're trying to change here. And we're just doing our job. So I want to thank you.
Mayor, I'd like to follow up on Councilman Coletti's comment. Councilman Coletti, I'd like to...
Mr. Dombrowski, if I may, I've just been signaled that we have 5 minutes. If you can do that.
I could take one.
I'm fine.
Okay. Councilman Coletti, I'd like to let you know that every one of these 4 Democrats up here are coaches or have been coaches for many years. Okay, some are current coaches. I've run programs in town. Okay, Mr. Ketamania has run soccer. I've run soccer, baseball. Okay, so please, when you mention that there's no sports knowledge up here, please keep that in mind.
You're doing this for the future, Joe? What happens if you get a council that has none of this, what we have here today?
I think he's missing the point.
Okay, I'm going to call for it. You want it now? I'm going to call for a 1-minute recess while he changes the tape. Gentlemen, I would like to reconvene the meeting. I have a couple comments in relation to the new ordinance that they want to put into effect. I'll go down them slowly. First of all, I think we should call in the rec director to find out what her plans are and how she feels about this. Does she want the job? Second, I think we should call in the Board of Recreation members. What are their plans? We've never done that. We got into a little shouting match in the back. We had some Board of Rec people walk out. And they're offended, we're offended, everybody's offended. So I think we have to calm everybody down and look at this in a rational way. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It should be done. The rec director, according to the new proposal, is going to go for a 5-year appointment at the pleasure of the mayor and council. I think that should be eliminated. That means you can fire them any time. I mean, if you're appointing somebody for 5 years, they should do something that is drastically wrong. Bring them up, talk to them, and then if you want to remove them, it should be done. But just say, at the pleasure of the council, I wonder if there's somebody in mind that they have, or anybody. You give a 5-year appointment, you keep them on for 5 years. Take that out of the ordinance. Let her feel comfortable or let him feel comfortable. The council last week complained of too many coaches. This year I put 1 coach on the council, on the Board of Rec. Everybody agreed. So we have another coach. Why not look at this ordinance again and see who we're appointing to that advisory board? If you want, we can put so many coaches on. You can put people who are at large. You may put females on, males on. You can have a variety. Put that in the ordinance. I think it's good that they're having everybody in the ordinance and the Board of Rec as advisors to repeat. But if they're doing such a bad job, why are we doing all this? Last month, they wanted 2 soccer coaches on. I was told, let's put 2 soccer coaches on. Now we don't want any more coaches. Let's look at that part of the ordinance and see if we can come to a better decision than that. The ordinance indicates that they're going to have 2 terms, 3 years each, and then they have to get off. Well, as it is now, it's a 5-year term. I want to tell this council and everybody here, from years of experience, you put somebody on a board for 3 years, the likelihood of reappointing that person, unless that person doesn't want to stay on the board, is 100%. You're going to replace that, you're not going to replace that person, you're going to appoint him a second term. It's 100%. Primarily because we're all very much in favor of putting that person on. So you're really giving a person a 6-year term instead of a 5-year term. To talk about people and the salaries. We have 3 people on the Board of Recreation. The new hire that's been criticized, spending too much money, let's look at that. The starting salary for that person was $20,000. It's hired at $30,000. Taking 2 people's place. 2 people that retired had a combined salary of $129,000 without counting health benefits. We hired this person who worked there before, part-time, college graduate, completely skilled all the way around. We've done it here on the council, hiring somebody above the minimum salary because it was a good choice to make. So if we look at that, and we hired somebody for $30,000, we spent $10,000 more than the basic requirement. If we saved $129,000, we spent $10,000, that's $119,000 savings. And instead of going from 4 people, we went to 3 people. That's not bad arithmetic. Not at all. And we're reducing the staff. And I have to commend Mr. Kazmark, our administrative clerk, who's done that here in the municipal building quite often. We've eliminated many, many jobs in this building. The other item we haven't discussed with the advisory board now, what we're doing with Cherry Hill Park, what we're doing with English Avenue Park, what we're doing down at the marina, what we're doing with the other parks. Before we change the noise, let's find out what we're doing with all this. And the budget. The budget is presented to this council by the Board of Recreation, but they have a trust fund, and they can spend money out of the trust fund. You can put a cap on the trust fund. And I've talked to some of the members of the Board of Recreation, they're fine with that. Let's talk to them about it. And any money that is substantial that's been spent by the Board of Recreation and the advisors has come back to this council. Any severe money that they're spending through open space, quite frankly, has to come back to the council, must come back to the council, simply because we have the authority to apply for open space. The board doesn't. The council does. So they've come back to us for any major expenditure that they've had. So we shouldn't talk to them about that. 3.5 pages of this new ordinance. Code of conduct for advisory boards. Code of conduct for the fields. They have that. We haven't had an issue on that in years. We're not changing anything. Why even include it? Let's discuss it. There's not a problem there. If there's a problem, we have all the laws that go and the police go down. But there hasn't been an issue about behavior, et cetera, on the fields in the last, I don't know how many years. This board is not a road board. What have they done wrong? Point out a specific item they've done wrong. The Board of Recreation operates in the black, which it didn't do years ago. Let's not make it, as Mr. Coletti said, a semi-political football. We don't want to do that. Let's look over the ordinance again. Change what you want to change. Bring in the commissioners. Talk to them. They're amenable. But my main concern is the director. We have to talk to her, and I think you should eliminate, at the consent of the council, she could be fired. That's wrong. If she's doing something so bad, bring her up on charges and then get rid of her, but not at the will of the council. As for the purchase of property, I think I have to indicate that I kept saying it was $500,000. We bought a piece of property. I've been corrected. It was only $350,000. The only piece of land ever purchased for an addition on the park was purchased by the former Democrat majority, and Mr. Catamagna voted for it. $350,000. He tells me. I have to check that. Board of Rec didn't buy the property. We bought the property. Now the Board of Rec is saying, let's do something with the money that we spent to buy the property, and I don't know where we're going with that. If we bought the property, let's fix it. If you're not going to fix it, can we legally get rid of it again? And who would buy it? Especially in this economy. Gentlemen, we have another work meeting coming up. I think some of the items that I've mentioned should be looked at. The ordinance can be changed if you don't want to eliminate it altogether, which I think you should. And I think we should sit down with the Board of Rec. They're all of them down there. I've never had a problem appointing anybody to that Board of Rec, and it's always had a vote by the council at the time of my appointment, so I have no problem with that. If you have a problem with coaches, eliminate some coaches. If you have a problem with something else, but let's find out where they're spending the money, how they're spending the money, why is it wrong, and let's work with them. Those are my comments. I hope we review them next Thursday. I hope we invite the council, the Board of Recreation back in again. And I hope that we invite the director to come in, see what her plans are, see how comfortable she feels that she could be fired at any time. Thank you. Mr. Casmore?
I'd like to say something, Mayor.
Yes.
If you don't mind. You know, it's so difficult for a Sicilian to listen to you, to listen to all these comments that you made. It's so difficult to stay calm. I try to compose myself, try to stay a little calm. You're the one who agreed with us to change the commissioner. Now you change it. You talk about politics. You're a very good politician. I have to give you the credit. You know how to twist the words around? I tried to convince the people. I could never do that. I'm honest. I tell you the truth. I tell you the truth the way it is. You're the one who say, good idea, I think this should be done. I only appoint this guy temporarily. I know you guys are going to change. I mean, no one said this, these people, the commissioner, did a terrible job. That's a lie. They didn't do terrible.
Oh, wait a minute. Don't say that's a lie. You've got to get rid of them.
We never said, Mayor, don't. I didn't stop you.
Okay.
As I said to you,
you're right. I'm going to comment on everything you
said. Maybe I will glass wine after this.
Okay. I'm going to start with that.
Listen to Mayor. I know you don't like what I'm going to say. That's why you try to bluff. Stop with this. I know you many years already. People are good people. They did a good job. The only we object is, like, you know, I remember the mayor used to appoint with the agreement with the council. We used to vote when we appoint commissioners. That time there was no commissioners. This came up a couple of years ago. Although they say we have the power. Okay, now, we are the one who bond the money. No, we are the one who apply for the grants. They are able to spend the money without our consent. That's wrong. We have to answer, we, the council, the mayor, have to answer to the people where the money goes. They can stay, the same people can stay there. There's nothing wrong with that. The mayor said, oh, we replaced 2 people in recreation. We only got 1 person, save us $150,000. No, you know what that tells me? They were wrong to hire extra people and spend the thousands of dollars in the past. That is wrong. They made a mistake when they hire extra people for the job that 1 guy can do the job. But the argument is here, we want to be fair to everyone. If we start a salary for white collar, it's that amount of money, everybody should get the same amount of money. I have nothing against the kid. I think he's doing a good job. He's a great kid. But it's not fair to the others. That's why I get upset. How can you listen to him say all this, twist things around, when he's the one who agreed with us? Yes, good idea. We should change that. Now this change. And we are the politicians. The political, no, that's politics. because the mayor is losing ground. You know that. Okay, he's have a challenge next time. That's why he wants to do something to get the people back. Do you understand what's going on? Come on, Mayor, people, they're not fool. We talked about the engineer before, how much money spent. Boswell spent so much money, you only put a Band-Aid on things. Things breaking, there's a lot of complaints. That's why we want to change, to give this new people a chance to do maybe a better job. Come on, talk about Boswell, what a great job he did. Come on, let's not fool each other. I have so many complaints from people. A little one, the Dunkin' Donuts now, you made a little mistake in that one too. The new one. Let's stop this BS, okay? Let's really work hard. Those commissioners, they want to stay, they can stay, nobody's chasing them out. We want to work with them, we want to discuss with them. If they have something to spend, the money to spend, I want to say, okay, what are you going to do with the money? We all should agree with that. No, it's my way or no way. That's wrong. I'm sorry, that's wrong. We want people to work with us. We all should know where the money should go. Let's stop this politics, Mr. Caleri and him. Give me a break. And so they do. Everything they do contradicts the politics. They come up with this. You know, I don't know, I could be here all night long and try to explain this, but I don't want to get upset. Because I am sincere. I feel. I have feelings. And when I have these lies, it bothers me a lot. That's all I want. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, because you made a few comments that I'd like to comment on.
Let me just answer Mr. Catamagna first. And I will use a letter to the editor that was written by Mr. Dombrowski, that you and Mr. Martino will treat our colleagues, regardless of the party, with respect that they deserve. I wish you would give that information over to Mr. Catamagna, telling me I'm a liar. Please, I didn't buy the property. You bought it with the Democratic majority, and I wonder where you found that $350,000.
You, Mayor, said,
wait a minute, I'm
Mayor,
talking.
Hold on.
I'm talking.
You said,
I said I keep
God
quiet.
doesn't make any more land. It's a good idea to buy it. Stop. Don't make it.
It's a good idea to buy, but what are you going to buy any piece of property that's around? You bought that property. Board of Recreation didn't buy that property. You're talking about the Board of Recreation, and they hired 2 people, and there were too many people there. You were on the council. You've been on for 16 years, and they were hired.
They were there.
May I finish my statement before you interrupt me?
Don't stop.
Okay.
See, I get upset when you lie.
There it is again. Ladies and gentlemen, here's a councilman calling the mayor a liar. And you don't know what you're talking about sometimes.
Okay. I don't speak English.
We have reduced borough employment. Mr. Kazmark, what, 12, 15 people?
Thank
So
God
we're
for him.
reducing that all the way around.
To do a good
Mr.
job.
Catamagna, zip the lip, as my mother used to say,
Okay, go ahead,
please.
go ahead.
All right?
I'm never so
You want to watch where the money's being spent. You change the ordinance. I haven't heard anybody say, listen, if they want to buy a new bench, they have to come back to us to get it. No, obviously there's going to have to be some things they can purchase. Otherwise, we'd be here doing recreation. We don't have to do that. I think what you've said is self-serving. You've been you've been involved with all this for all the time you've been on the council. You're worried about the Democratic majority is heading into this council, and I'm worried. Mr. Catamagna, I'm publicly say, if I'm running again in 2 years and you're my candidate, I'd like to challenge you.
You can have it.
Okay? If you don't want to run, that's fine. But don't accuse me. I have minor influence on the council as a mayor. The council makes these decisions. You were part of the council. You made these decisions. Now you're going to make another one, and I think you should look at this ordinance and say, maybe we should take out that business of firing the director whenever we want. Mr. Dombrowski, I may comment on some of yours, but I'll allow you to talk.
That's fine. Mayor, first of all, I have not been on the council when all of these appointments were made. Okay, if I heard you correctly, you said that you reduced the manpower, but it's okay to give somebody more money. you know, you're not the one who sits in the white collar. You're not the one who sits in negotiations with the white collar. When they come up and say, well, how does this happen? Are you saying, did you just tonight publicly say it's okay to go over and above what the minimum salary is for the borough? I think you did.
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
I hope that doesn't come back to haunt you.
I hope it doesn't, because if we're going to hire somebody at $20,000 with the minor credentials, when we can hire somebody at a going rate, which has been effectively produced by our administrator clerk, okay, with other people, I think we have to look at.
So then you're saying that the minimum wage that was set by the Republican council is too little?
At that time it was set, yes. And today's standard, maybe you have to increase it, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember that you just heard that.
Yes.
Second thing is,
let me say,
hold on.
Are you going to hire everybody at that minimum wage from this point on?
If that is the borough ordinance, that's the way it should be.
Well,
period. If that is the borough ordinance, if you have a problem with it, then we should change the borough ordinance.
Well, then you should look at that too and criticize our clerk, administrator for doing what he's doing.
I criticized the council that was in here prior to that, which happened to be.
I think what he's done is excellent.
I think Mr. Kasmark has done a very good job as well.
Well, people, I think that's excellent.
Well, I want to publicly say this also, that the mayor, and you can pull out that piece of paper, Mayor.
Yes.
Because that piece of paper says that you questioned one of the councilmen on this dais about a $200,000 spend. And you questioned it then publicly. You've questioned it in work meetings, okay? And you've also told me on a number of occasions that it would be a good idea to make a change down there. Now are you telling me that you're not telling me the truth and that I can't trust what you're saying?
You can trust everything I'm saying. I have the same questions about some of the councilmen here. When I was asked that question about looking at the Board of Recreation, I said we should look into it.
No. Your words to me verbatim was, I think that they should go. I think it would be a good idea for that to happen, Mayor.
That's your word against mine.
It's not.
Why would I want this?
I was there.
Why would I want this Board of Recreation to go when I appointed all of them?
Well, then I have to ask that question: is why did you say to me it would be a good idea? And then why, a few weeks ago, did you say if you're going to do something? Excuse me. If you're going to do something, do it quickly. Guess what? We're doing it quickly.
That's altogether wrong, Mr. Dombrowski. You had this Board of Recreation sitting there for 4 to 5 months under the threat of being eliminated. If you're going to do something, do it, get it started, and review it.
And now everybody's complaining.
Sure.
I don't understand.
Have we met with the Board of Rec? Have we discussed any of the things we had?
Actually, I put it out there to every rec member that I would be more than happy to sit down with them. I only got one.
Where'd you meet?
Excuse me?
Who'd you meet?
I met with Mr. Burke.
Where'd you meet with him?
At the diner last night at 9:30, Mr. Mayor.
I congratulate your councilman for meeting at the diner. Is this the way we're doing business now? We meet with other people at a diner? Bring them all in. Talk to
Mayor,
them.
We invited them to the work session last week, and nobody wanted to come.
They had other commitments.
Okay.
They had other commitments.
And because they had other commitments, we made ourselves available, myself and Councilman Petigano, to meet with any one of them at any given time, and going at 9:30 to wherever they wanted us to go. I think that means that we were willing to meet with every single one of them if they wanted to. They had the opportunity. Enough said.
Mr. Dombrowski,
That's more than this.
it was two of the members of the Board of Rec. It was their birthday. One was working.
Okay.
Okay? They didn't come. They don't want to come, we're not going to meet them. That's wrong. And your statement about I wanted to eliminate anybody, I said I wanted to review it. I don't want to eliminate anybody. That's your word. I have other people on the council here who spoke to me about not hiring or reappointing any one of these people on the Board of Rec. I don't want to say liars. But now we're reappointing everybody on the Board of Rec. When the point was in the beginning, we're eliminating everybody from the Board of Rec. I think terms have gone around that are unusual. I think terms have gone around that have been changed. And I think what we should do is sit with the Board of Rec, come up with a decision that's fair, and stop name calling. You know, I've never called anybody up here in all my years a liar. Now I'm a liar? Go to the public. I'm a liar? Shame on you, I'm a liar.
No, Mayor, I'm sorry. You're not telling the truth.
I don't.
You're not telling the
I
truth.
am not a prevaricator.
Okay.
Oh,
Never have been.
big word.
It's a big word.
I don't know what that
Hope you
means.
all know it. Okay?
I look at
And to sit here at a public council meeting and be called a liar by two councilmen is really uncalled for. Uncalled for. And Mr. Catamagna, you're running for mayor next year. I'll publicly put out a challenge for you if I decide to run, okay? You've run it before, you can run again. And I think what you're trying to do, quite frankly, all of you, is put a disguise on everything that you're doing with the Board of Rec to get your way instead of talking to people and trying to resolve the problem. Mr. Kazma, call a roll.
On roll call, council members Coletti,
No.
Dombrowski,
Yes.
Martino,
Yes.
Pettigano,
Yes.
Bonsino,
No.
Catamagna.
yes.
Motion carried. Resolution 163-14, reintroduce ordinance 14-15 on first reading. Be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, "An Ordinance to Fix the Salaries, Wages, and Compensation of the Officers, Employees, and Servants of the Borough of Elmwood Park, County of Bergen, State of New Jersey for the year 2013, be passed and adopted on first reading, and be it resolved that final hearing on said ordinance will be heard in the municipal building on Thursday, June 5th, 2014, at 8 p.m., or as soon thereafter, as same can be heard, at which time and place all persons interested in said ordinance can be heard. Be it further resolved that the Borough Clerk be and he is hereby authorized to advertise in a legal newspaper a notice of introduction and final hearing as required by law.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Dombrowski, second.
Second.
Mr. Martino, discussion?
Mayor, I just want to clarify that there was a new position placed in the salary ordinance formerly governed by the Board of Health of Deputy Registrar, and there was a typo on the amount in last year's salary ordinance. That is being corrected here tonight and is highlighted in the ordinance accordingly. It is the only change from what was introduced and adopted in December.
Thank you. Any questions? Call a roll, please.
On roll call, council members Coletti?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Pettigano?
Yes.
Bonsino?
Yes.
Catamagna?
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, this evening under the consent agenda, we have Resolution 164-14, payment of bills, Resolution 165-14, confirmation of escrow, Resolution 166-14, confirmation of payroll, Resolution 167-14, approval of the police chief's employment agreement for Chief Michael Foligno, Resolution 168-14, resolution to reappoint Tax Assessor Kevin Esposito, Resolution 169-14, resolution rejecting recycling bids, Resolution 170-14, resolution to redeem third-party tax lien 55 Rosemont, Resolution 171-14, resolution to redeem third-party tax lien 63 Bank Street, Resolution 172-14, resolution to redeem third-party tax lien for 53 Donor Avenue. Resolution 173-14, resolution to redeem third-party tax lien 1-129 Boulevard. Resolution 174-14, resolution to redeem third-party tax lien 80 Phillip Avenue. Resolution 175-14, resolution to redeem third-party tax lien 485 Boulevard. Resolution 176-14, resolution to redeem third-party tax lien 82 North Street. Resolution 177-14, authorized purchase of public works equipment. Resolution 178-14, vacation buyback program for Michael Foligno. Resolution 179-14, resolution authorizing contracts with certain approved state contract vendors for contracting units pursuant to NJSA 40A:11-12A. Resolution 180-14, memorandum of agreement waiver between the Borough of Elmwood Park and Dawn Marshall. Resolution 181-14, resolution for the LoSAP program to convert to Lincoln Financial. Resolution 182-14, authorized purchase of the 2014 Interceptor for the Police Department. And Resolution 183-14, person-to-person liquor license transfer, license number 0211-33-002-002. Need a motion and a second.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Martino, second by Mr. Dombrowski. Any discussion? Call a roll.
On roll call, Councilmembers Coletti?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Martino?
Yes.
Pettigano?
Yes.
Bonsino?
Yes.
Catamagna?
Yes.
Motion passes. Departmental reports, we have the Police Department for April, the Department of Public Works for April, the Recreation Department for April, and the Board of Recreation minutes for March 24th, 2014.
Motion to receive and file.
So moved.
Mr. Boncino, second.
Second.
Mr. Dombrowski, any discussion? All in favor? Opposed? So ordered. And
Mayor, we have
applications?
raffle license applications for the American Legion Post 147 and St. Leo's Roman Catholic Church.
Motion, please.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Boncino, second by Mr. Dombrowski. Any discussion? Call the roll, please, on that.
On roll call, Councilmembers Coletti?
Yes.
Dombrowski?
Yes.
Martino?
Yep.
Pettigano?
Yes.
Yes.
Montesino?
Yes.
Catamania?
Yes.
Motion carries. Mayor, that concludes my portion of the agenda.
Thank you. Committee reports, Mr. Catamani.
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Last night, I attended the planning board meeting, and overall, was great, was nice. Like to see a company come in and create jobs, because I see the FGO Logistics, they are renting bigger warehouse to create more job, more work. That's what I like it. I like to see business come to town. And also Soundview also, they expand, they're going back, the workload is increasing. It was approved, the new warehouse. One thing that the Riverside, riverfront residential, they want to put a child care, and they would ask to withdraw the application. I really, maybe I'm still new on the planning board, but to me, if the property is residential, and also retail, and now say the child care is not allowed, doesn't make sense to me. They say, oh, the judge ruled this way. And here we have, as I say, I'm new still, by force for me, I don't see any difference between the child care, the retail store, the whole business. And for them to be forced to withdraw the application and spend a lot of money, to me was unnecessary. But as I say, I'm new, I could be wrong. Hope they come back. I think they go to the zoning board. And I hope they don't go away. I hope they stay. We need to encourage business. That's legit business. So the rest was okay. So that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Dombrowski?
Yes, Mayor. From the Health Department, if everybody saw today in the paper, there was a typographical error. There will be free rabies shots for cats and dogs, not 13 and 10 versus spayed and non-spayed, but it is free. Free rabies clinic for shots for cats and dogs will take place on the 21st at Firehouse number 4 from 5 to 6 p.m. only dogs, and from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. only cats. Obviously, we don't want to mix the two. Also, there will be a free blood pressure clinic every third Tuesday of the month at the Senior Center from 9:30 to 11:30. There is no appointment necessary. May 26th is the Child Health Clinic, which will be at the Garfield Health Office for immunizations for parents who want to get their child immunized or need physicals. You can call the Garfield Health Clinic to set up an appointment at 973-340-3340. And also in the Garfield Clinic, which we have a shared service with, free vaccinations for adults for hepatitis A, HPV, and for seniors, shingles. So those are all available, and that's also by calling 973-340-5540. Mayor, I also had the opportunity this week to see the Chamber of Commerce. I would like to report that they will be having a beefsteak dinner. I know I'm giving a large advance notice, but November 26th. The beefsteak dinner will be at 6:30 at the Bethwood. The tickets are $65 per person. The reason why I bring it up now is because they've got most of the tables already sold. So if anybody wants to get into it, it's a great opportunity to meet the businesses. Again, $65 a person. It should be a great night. I also, I had some discussions with the chamber that I will bring back to the mayor and council at the next work session. And then I'd also like to just recognize that today, not only May 15th was the Peace Officers Day, but it also happens to be the MPS Awareness Day. Basically there's a few of us are wearing purple. It's a day that you recognize children who have MPS, and there are 2 children in our town, the leader boys, Jason and Justin, that have it, and so we wear purple today in their honor. Okay. Progress.
Thank you. Mr. Boncino?
Yes, Mayor, thank you. Again, congratulations go out to Chief Foligno and his family as he begins the next phase of his law enforcement career. Also, the Police Commission will be meeting with the new chief and his department leadership on Monday to continue our manpower and staffing discussions relative to the department. You'll note as you drive around town, our ambulance corps has posted signs throughout the borough. They are in need of members. I talked about service a couple of times the last few meetings relative to the ambulance corps and fire department. If you have even the smallest inkling that you'd like to serve, go to www.epvac.com and download an application, or call 201-796-8077. Somebody from the Corps would be happy to explain what they do for our community. And while I discussed the police and ambulance corps, today the 9/11 Museum opened in Lower Manhattan, and hopefully I'll get to go over there soon to see it. But it's certainly a reminder of what our nation went through, how we changed, and what we lost some 13 years ago. And it certainly puts in perspective sometimes the trivia that we deal with and what should really be important in our lives. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Mr. Martino?
A few things. These homeowners are having their bus trip to Mount Airy on the 30th. Yesterday, I went with Chief Foligno to the senior center. There was about 45 people, and believe it or not, some of the people still are getting the phone scams. A few of them got the IRS scams, and we can't impress upon everybody enough, do not give out any information. A few people were there that actually got scammed. For them, a couple $100 is some of them, it's a life savings. So they really have to be careful. I was surprised how it's still going on. Not only how it's still going on, how some people are still falling for it, which is just, I guess if you're alone and you're elderly, maybe things happen. But I plead for everybody, please do not listen to these phone calls. Hang up. Chief says if you have the phone number, give them a call, they'll research it. Unfortunately, most of these are overseas, so they can't do much about it, but at least it's on record that you called and that you are notifying them something happened. And 2 other things. Daniel finished his first year of college. He's got 6 more to go, I think. And today is my anniversary also, my wedding anniversary. That's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
How many years, Steve?
10.
Mr. Pettigano?
Thank you, Mayor. The soccer club is sponsoring an Memorial Day weekend tournament. It's May 24th and 25th. There's 24 teams registered with 5 divisions. Borough Field is going to be very busy that weekend. Summer camp is going well, registering over 200 children already. Also, Community Day. There are 19 participants already with a lot of donations. This is something for nonprofits, businesses, and other organizations in Elmwood Park to sponsor a table, set up, and be able to interact with the town and our people and let them know about what you're doing. And the softball scoreboard is being repaired, and there is a footprint going in for a new scoreboard on Borough Field. That's it for the rec. I would just like to congratulate one day ahead of time, Frank and Vicky Caramagna will 44 years, I believe, tomorrow.
Oh my God, I thought it was a secret. Everybody knows. I have to buy a present.
I figured I'd remind them. So Frank is a very lucky man, and that's all I have.
My father's birthday today, you would have been 114 years old. Happy birthday, Bob.
Mr. Coletti?
Mayor, I forgot something, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
June 7th, the baseball every year has a trip to see the Jackals play at Yogi Berra Stadium. It's only $10. And you get an entrance to the stadium, and I think you get a hot dog sometimes. So for $10, if somebody wants to go with their family, they're great seats, it's a great day. It's going to be a great night. It's the same day as the Community Day, so go to the Community Day for 4 hours, spend some money there, go home, take a shower, and go to Jackals for $10. You can't get a better deal in this town for $10.
Thank you. Mr. Coletti?
Yeah, I'd like to congratulate our new chief, Foligno. And like I've mentioned before, I know him quite some time. And I want to commend him also recently on his being amiable in terms when it came to his contract, allowing the town to see some considerable savings regarding his down-the-road retirement buyout. I think we've all reached realization that these large buyouts cannot be sustained any longer on the backs of our taxpayers. Good luck, Chief. Pursuant to our fire department, on Memorial Day, May 26th, the annual firemen's ceremony honoring their former colleagues will be held at 9:30 at the Memorial Park located at Molnar Drive. If it rains, Company House 1, located at 28 Grove Street, will host the event. And one last note, Mayor, prior to this meeting, the short meeting we're having here, members from the mayor and council, ambulance, fire, police department, and JIF met, discussed the ladder truck accident and ways to avoid in the future it happening. I can safely say, and I believe the members of the council that were there and our administrator, that the mood was good in the room in the sense that the committee members were listening to each other and not badgering each other's. It was a warm and fuzzy mood that existed, and it's a work in progress. We're going to meet 2 weeks from today, I believe. Is that correct, Mr. Kazmark?
June the 5th.
June the 5th. And that'll be our second talks regarding that incident. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilman Coletti, it's 9:15 that day, not 9:30.
I got 9:30.
Yeah, 9:15.
Oh, okay.
Just so people don't come late, you know, because it's usually a short ceremony.
Okay. I stand to be corrected, 9:15.
Mr. Randazzo, you have anything?
Real briefly, I appeared before the planning board yesterday on the Market Street road widening easement. The planning board was very open, and they approved the amended site plan, so that project's going to be moving forward, hopefully so.
Thank you. Thank you. On my comments, we're still having a minor problem with the Department of Transportation with the bus shelter over on the opposite the commuter parking lot on Route 46, but that's going to be resolved. In relation to Mr. Boncino about the museum, I was fortunate enough last year to go into the museum in New York on the World Trade Center while they were still constructing it, and I recommend anybody visit that. It's just an amazing site that they put up, and it's an amazing building, so please do that. And I also request that everybody here and everybody watching on tape put a call into our Assembly people, Assemblyman Sumter and Assemblyman Wimberly, and ask if they can push the 2% cap for the police and get that ordinance passed. We haven't met with the police yet, and I think we have to look at that very strongly on their contract. Their contract's going to be up on December 30th of this year, and we haven't even started reviewing anything with them, and we're holding it up because of the cap. If they don't pass any law, the police salaries can go 3, 4, 5, whatever is decided on. We have a 2% cap. Our budget is 2% cap, and I think they should get with that. Just a correction to Mr. Catamagna about new jobs with the planning board last night. There weren't any new jobs created. We had one business move from one end of town to the other end of town, the same people, and we had Markel go from one end of Markel to the other end of Markel over there. So the people who are working are still going to be working, but they're taking up room in Elmwood Park, which is good. So that no one is afraid of trying to get new people to work in Elmwood Park. It's always been welcoming businesses into our community, and I think that's what the Planning Board and Zoning Board want to do. And what Councilman Catamagna indicated was that there was a problem with zoning at the Planning Board, and it was resolved by having them go to the Zoning Board and have them look at the zoning of the daycare center that they want to put in, then they have to come back to the Planning Board. That was done, and everybody on the board agreed to that. That's the end of my report. If there is anyone in the audience, I'd like to open to the public. If you'd please come up, give us your name and address.
Good evening, Daniel Goldbeck, 44 Godwin Ave. I have 4 thoughts, I think. One is something that Councilman Coletti brought up a few months ago regarding Elmwood Park Centennial coming up 2016, I believe. I applaud you for bringing it up. I think it's something that has to be continually brought up. You don't want to be in a situation where next year we're kind of scrambling. I don't know when, I know Woodland Park is doing it. I don't know when you started, Mr. Cadmer, but I know you started well in advance before the actual year. So we should learn from that and absolutely start planning as soon as possible with our Centennial. Last week at the work session, a grant was discussed, sidewalks that are usually an application for sidewalks to be funded by some sort of government entity. When is that deadline to go out for that?
I want to say, without having it in front of me, that's the end of June.
Okay, I have some thoughts, but that'll be it for another time. And with respect to the current conversation, Councilman Boncino indicated that during your tenure here on the council, you haven't seen anything, I don't know your exact words, but
Significant.
Significant from the Rec Commission. And I don't remember whether this was 2008 or 2009, and I think it's January 2009, the month you were sworn in to the council. I would ask that you get the minutes from that Recreation Committee meeting from January 2009, and the minutes will speak for themselves. It was an atrocious example of government at its worst. And I think you should just read those minutes, just for yourself. I don't know if you were there, I don't remember, because that was probably one of the first meetings I ever went to, but I think that's something to look at.
Was it related to the color of T-shirts?
I don't remember exactly, but
Probably.
it's not
Probably.
the issue. It's not the issue, it was how it all transpired. I'm just
Probably
throwing it out there.
color of T-shirts, if I had to
I'm just
recall.
throwing it
from
out
when I
there. It
first
was
came on.
interesting to look at. My other thought is, and if I'm incorrectly understanding this, the Recreation Commission came into effect in 1969, correct?
Whereabouts?
Under the state statute. So from the time, Mayor, you took office till about a few years ago, it was being incorrectly applied for 35 years? Is that
Wasn't being incorrectly applied. No one ever questioned it. And it was done before that. It was done in 69, maybe you're right.
Okay, I don't understand
Maybe even longer than that.
So for all those years, technically you should have had the direct appointment under that statute.
That's right.
But for many years, it was being done incorrectly by a council vote. So I just, we speak about good government. For 35 years, something was incorrectly done, and now we're in a situation where we're going back and forth battling when this is something that should have been clarified and resolved years ago, I feel, in my opinion.
The answer to that question, I was just following past precedent.
Well, I mean, I think that's an excuse for 2
It's not an excuse. I was just following past precedent that I did nominate for the Board of Recreation, and the entire council every year approved my nomination.
I would have thought that in that span of 35 years, either you or legal representation would have seen that it was not being done correctly, and this situation would have rectified years ago.
Nobody ever questioned it on the council, Republican or Democrat.
Jeffrey Freitag, 35 Hillman Drive. Regarding the Rec Commission, I've been to some of the work meetings preceding this meeting regarding this going back and forth. I think some sort of bipartisan effort. I think everyone's minds are in the same place as the direction they might want to go, just in different fashions, as far as a commission or as far as operating in another fashion. Prior to 1969, how did this function? The mayor, I guess you were Not that you were the only one around, I guess you were the only one.
He's saying
Part
you're
of the
the
political body.
How did it function?
How did it function?
The Board of Recreation did what the Board of Recreation is doing today.
Okay.
It never was a problem.
I mean, as the rec existed between then and now, I've seen progress. I guess that, I think everyone agrees that there's been great increases in the amount of youth and senior citizens, everybody that uses the facility and all the events that occur, and it seems to be positive. I just think that it would be a good thing if everybody did get together and in some way try to come to some agreement as how this is all going to function in the end. Just looking at the statute, not the statute, rather the ordinance as it's planned to exist after the second reading, the 5-year and/or at the pleasure of the mayor and council is sort of a strange thing. Usually we have a particular term. Mr. Randazzo was there, I guess, in some way. How was this ordinance? I think I heard that the council people or some of the council people crafted the ordinance.
That's correct. We took, Councilman Pettigano and I took ordinances from other towns that had also gone from a commission to an advisory board. We took those into consideration. We took what we liked from one, put it in, we basically melted them together. And that's how that ordinance was drafted.
Now, did Mr. Randazzo also review this? I mean, ordinances, whether they're a law or whatever they are, they do have some teeth when they're formed, and he's reviewed this and found that...
I'm not going to answer for Mr. Randazzo. We can wait till he comes back. But I won't answer for him, but we'll hold that question for when he comes back.
Okay, one way or another. But regardless, I just think that I think everybody's efforts seem to be going in the direction of having the rec board remain the way it is in a fashion that the same members remain. What happens, I mean, the person who seems to be on the hot seat, the way this will be the rec director, because they're the ones that it seemed would be possible, there would be a focus for them to serve they would become a political football league. Not to say that it's going to happen, but it seems that that could happen. And not to say that that's anyone's, what they want to do. It just seems that things have to be worked out. And I think it's best if everybody gets together. I know that you said there was an effort, or the mayor said one thing, and there was a lot of things going back and forth, that this should be done in a very quick fashion. And I don't know, I'm not privy to that, but it just seems that there needs to be a way to work it all out in the end, because it will be the second reading, and I would assume that's at the next public meeting, that would be. And I guess that would be in a couple weeks, or next
2 weeks.
2 weeks, right? So I think it would be best if the rec commissioners would get together with everybody, and maybe at the time amenable, I mean, you give different dates, and maybe you can get together and kind of work it out. I think things did move forward during that time. It maybe existed, maybe it wasn't proper, but whatever, it did move forward. And I think that everyone has to agree that that's what happened. So I just think that it needs to be worked out, and I think it will be the best for the community in that way. But everybody's got their ideas, and everybody, everything becomes political, but I think in the best interest of the town, it would be best that it would be worked out in some fashion.
Mr. Freitag, if I may, we attempted, I believe you were at the work meeting when we attempted to discuss with them, and they decided to get up and walk out.
I wasn't at that meeting.
You weren't? Okay.
I read about that, though.
Okay, but you read about it. Okay, so the fact of the matter is there were attempts made. There were attempts recently made to have a discussion. I only got one phone call. One phone call. 2 emails, 1 phone call.
Yeah, I don't know that walking out is the best thing.
Well, at one point you have to say enough's enough. You make attempts, and when it doesn't go your way, you cry foul. I'm sorry. Enough's enough. You move forward.
Mr. Randazzo's back.
Oh, there was a question for you, Mr. Randazzo.
About, did you review the new ordinance for its completeness and addressing the issues?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you. I just wish it would all get worked out. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wishes to speak?
Sure you don't want to go, George?
Is there anyone else that wishes to speak after Mr. Conboy?
I was going to ask you for a bathroom break, Mayor, but...
Ask me for what?
Bathroom break. But I was enjoying it, you know.
Mr. Conboy?
Yes.
If you wish,
Oh, I'm sorry, Tom Conboy, 135 12th Avenue.
if you wish, I'll get somebody else up and I'll keep it over.
No, that's okay. Maybe it'll make me go faster.
You can take that two ways.
Well, I'm just trying to add some humor, Mayor. I know how much you miss me.
It's a family show.
Before I get started, I just want to thank our past chief, Tom Johnson. He did a fantastic job. He took over at a time when 7 senior officers were leaving, and he did a great job in his term there as our chief and as a representative of our town for many, many years, and a hometown kid and so forth. So I want to wish him the best in his retirement and his family, and I want to wish Mike and his entire family and his crew downstairs the very best coming up in his new tenure as our leading our police force and keeping our town safe. Well, you know, I had a lot to say, but I got so confused I don't even know where to start anymore, because watching the banter go back and forth, I've now gotten so many misplacements here, it isn't funny. But, you know, a couple of quick things that jumped out at me. First, with regard to the scoreboard Mr. Panignano talked about, I think it should be noted that Miss Police and our Rec Commission, and especially Pete Scalera, who runs our soccer program for our community, did a great job working with Spencer Bank to get Spencer to pay for the entire scoreboard. Another great business partner here in our community. All we have to do is pay for the installation. The town has to pay for the installation and so forth. Hopefully that will get approved to use the trust to do that. Wherever it gets, hopefully it wouldn't get held up. But anyway, a couple of things that really stick out that I think is unfair. And for me, if anyone attended the meetings when I attended, some of the things that are being, I saw that 5 minutes. So that stand out, the things that are really bothering me. You know, I myself had issues with the boards. I heard Councilman Dombrowski mention tonight there's issues with some of the other boards right now as we speak, and so forth. And you know, I've always been in the business world, worked my way up real hard up to a vice president, and did what I had to do to get to that next level. I also served on the personnel committee with Frank, and you know, some of the things that keep getting mentioned here, all of a sudden, we're paying them more. Missing the steps. We're going over the steps. Right, Larry? That's what you said? I was in those meetings with Frank on the Personnel Committee and working with our borough clerk / administrator on hiring folks for this municipality that could function and do things. And every one of those appointments, we looked at all those applicants, and everyone who left the room, and we narrowed it down towards the end. I think, Bob, you were on there with us as well, the three of us. We said, oh, this is a good candidate. And when you look at their resume, they deserved to be paid at a higher rate because they brought more to the table. And that's where we went, and that's how we acted over the last couple of years. We've brought in some key people in the clerk's office that have been able to pick up the slack and do multitask jobs. That's the way it is today, folks. Getting the most you can out of your workforce without having to expand it. I believe it's about 17 positions we not necessarily eliminated, we didn't fill, and we consolidated to help the taxpayers of Elmwood Park. So when we look at the recreation area, I feel bad for this young man. He's a town kid, done well, went off to college, everything else. And he's taking on the work of many others, like they do down at the rec. We have a couple of other employees, which we all would agree, do a lot. He's the first guy to get out of his car, tighten a bolt, do something. He's there on the weekends. We have a lot of folks that do that down there, and they're doing it with less. So it really bothers me to hear that they did this. We did that. We voted on those things. The rec commissioner just said, yeah, we're going to hire him, give him more money. Everything came to this governing body, whoever was on there. And I'm proud of a lot of the hires that the committee, when I served on personnel with Frank and whoever else before Bob, I'm very, very proud of those employees that we brought on board. And at the last meeting before my forced retirement, we even talked with the white collar about coming up with good ideas to help those employees who have an issue with other employees coming in at higher rates of ways that they can improve themselves
Let's take a break.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to cut Mr. Conboy off because we have another tape that has to be replaced, so we'll take another 3 to 5 minute recess. Yes, okay, you can change it. Let's discuss it. Now I'm hearing from Mr. Catamagna, I said they have to do it now. I just wanted to know if they plan to do it. And the answer was yes. Didn't mean immediately. I don't know where they're coming up with these interpretations. Immediately, my God.
I think we could pull the record, Mayor, that I think your words were, if you're going to do something, let's do it now. You know, get it done. I think that was, pretty close to the wording that you used. Ms. Wexler, I'd like to also...
Wait, Joe. If I say, then let's get it done, let's get it done. But talk about it. That doesn't mean going to vote yes and that's it.
The word was quickly, actually, that
I don't care what the word was. You're jamming this through. It's unbelievable the way you're twisting this around.
Can I address Ms. Wexler, please?
Yes, you can ask, but please, look at it and say, we didn't say ram it through. There's a difference between bullying things and doing it.
You know, Mayor, and Ms. Wexler, if I may, after the fiasco of having everybody get upset and walk out, the following week, and anybody could look at the tape from May 1st, there was about an hour and a half of ranting and raving and finger pointing at a councilman here saying that he's unqualified. Now, this is an elected official that the people put up here, that he's unqualified. I think, you know, we could go back and forth about this constantly, okay? We can go back and forth about this, all right? From the rec board meeting minutes, from the last rec board meeting minutes, the same person that said Councilman is unqualified says it again, okay? You could see they're just unhappy. They're unhappy with the situation. And, you know, you want to talk about finger pointing and everything else. It goes both ways, if you want to say.
Well, that's
all right. But the fact of the matter is we've given them the opportunity. We've given them the opportunity to have a chance to talk. They chose to walk out. We give them an opportunity. They had an opportunity to come up to the public, to the podium, and all they wanted to do was rip it apart. We don't need to go through this anymore. We're moving forward. It's the right thing to do.
Mr. Dombrowski, if I may, continue with your report and then we can...
Thank you.
Okay. My question is, you don't disband the rec department. They're doing a wonderful job.
We're not.
They go, let me finish now. They've done a wonderful job. And to get rid of a person that has been doing a job fantastically, there's no reason for it. I really do agree that she should have a contract. She should have a contract for 5 years, stating in these 5 years we expect this, this, and this. This is what you do to the superintendent of schools. I want to see your goals, what you project that you're going to have, and everything else. And about getting rid of her, if the council decides one day somebody doesn't like her anymore and he's got the other 4 votes, well, she's going. No. You start writing her up. You give her the option of coming in before the council and saying, you know, this is what we feel, this is what you have to improve on, and whatever. You just don't say, at the Thursday night's meeting, Friday morning, you no longer have a job. Because I wouldn't do that to anybody, and I don't think anybody should do it to me. So I think that's just all she decide what you're really going to do with this rec department. In your hearts for the kids. That's the main thing.
Thank you.
Through you, Mayor, can I just clarify something that's been said? With regard to the recreation director position, when the current recreation director was hired, she was hired by the governing body, by the mayor and council. And it was decided prior to that appointment that she would hold the position of recreation director. Prior to that, Mr. DeMauro held the position of recreation superintendent. The position of recreation director is an unclassified position, which means that the person is essentially at will, whereas the superintendent is a civil service position that is achieved through a competitive examination, and then there are civil service protections that are put in place. However, at the time, the council decided to appoint the current director to a 3-year term. Now, that is something that was decided at the local level, so there was some level of protection afforded to that position at the local level. Under civil service, she remains an at-will employee. When the statute that's been discussed tonight was brought to light and that appointment was handed over to the Recreation Commission, they also appointed her to a 3-year term locally. So while there is no contract, no employment contract, similar to what we approved tonight for the chief of police, there is a term of appointment that has been created by previously by the mayor and council, and now by the Recreation Commission.
Anybody else who wishes to speak? Mr. Nestori.
George Nestori, 2 Staple Court. Mr. Mayor, I have to ask you, is the dredging of the brook in the works?
No.
Why?
It hasn't been approved yet. We have to get a contract for the de-snagging and dredging of the brook.
That's what you told me last time.
Yeah, we got the money, we just have to get the contract. Mr. Kazmark will tell you when we went out for bid and when they'll do it.
Time is of the essence. People are affected.
Mr. Nestori, do you want us to do it legal? We have to get a contractor to come in and do it.
This has been going on a long time.
No, it hasn't.
Contracts were awarded last meeting.
Okay. Contract was awarded last meeting.
Okay. And so when will start?
We have,
Relatively soon?
through you, Mr. Mayor, we have a pre-construction meeting on the books for, I think, next Thursday with the contractor.
Okay. Now, is there any problems with rights to get onto somebody's property within the brook? Or did we clear up everything? I know there's always a contention that 1 or 2 property owners won't let anybody come on their property to dredge the brook. Is that, are all the approvals in place?
Through you, Mayor, that's one of the topics that is on the agenda for the pre-construction meeting.
Okay. Are the storm drains being cleaned?
As part of this project?
Mr. Pedagano, do you know that?
Yes, I told you 2 months ago that they periodically, every couple of months, go through every one, they inspect them, and they clear them if necessary.
Because a couple of years ago, they weren't done, and they were full to capacity, and the back of the water up anytime it rained very hard. Now, the sanitary pump station.
Mr. Nestori, could you back up from the microphone a minute?
Just raise the mic.
There you go. It's got an echo.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
That's good.
Okay. Sanitary sewer system. Is that going to be able to improve the backups when we have infiltration during a tremendous storm?
George, if I may, that was my concerns, and the engineer is going to revisit that and bring the calculations in to assure us that if we were to spend this $2.3 million, that we're not going to end up with anything that is not sufficient to accommodate a storm equal to Sandy. So that's my concerns, and my colleague also.
This has been a major problem for years, and as we build up with these condos and these high density buildings, there's going to be more going into the system, and it's got to be able to be handled. The volume is very critical.
Yeah. Well, the scope of work is from A to Z. Let's call it A to Z. We have to make sure that we're in that area that we're improving and considering future additions to volumes so that this system can handle it and let us go for 20, 30 years before we spend that kind of money.
Now, you got to remember, we have a major infiltration problem in our sewer system. Okay, and we're losing maybe hundreds of thousands of dollars a year from water infiltrating the sewer system, and we are being charged for processing sewage, which is water, a lot of times. And I think it would be cost effective if we started, and I've been saying this for years, and it hasn't been done yet, that we start looking at how we can prevent the homeowners that are pumping into the sewer system, sump pumps, and we should be putting in cameras. If we took piece by piece, not to do it in one shot, because it's too expensive. But if we did section it off, especially in the flood areas where we know, like the Fleischer Brook area where we know that we have a major problem, we could have corrected this problem years ago, but we haven't done it. And it's cost us much more money. I brought this up, and Lou, you poo-pooed it. You never considered it.
Well, you didn't really present you say it's a significant problem and it adds a significant cost, but you really didn't produce the data. I kind of looked at our costs and I went back and looked at our bills. It didn't substantiate what you were saying.
What do you mean you can't substantiate? Can you substantiate that it's not happening?
I'm not saying it's not happening, but you say it's significant. Define significant. You didn't provide any data.
How can I provide data?
Let's not get into a back and forth, please.
All I can tell you is when we have a tremendous volume of rain, what happens? It backs up. What does that tell you? Logically, as an engineer, what does that tell you?
Your contention was that we are experiencing an increased cost.
Of course.
I went back and I looked at what we were paying.
Wait, George, you want him to answer? Let him answer.
I went back and looked at what we were paying and correlated it to the amount of rainfall, and it didn't correlate, George.
You can't go by input out.
I'm not an expert. I looked at it. We'll have our engineer look at it, I guess.
But we had this problem for years, way before your time, and nothing was done. Okay? And we had all this building going on, and we had no upgrades to the volume capability of our sewer system. So that's poorly managed. Now, Mayor, you said that, you know, as a mayor, you've had very little to do and very little to say.
About what?
It's not true.
About what?
About being, you know, the leader up there, you have quite a bit to say.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, but before you told somebody that you don't have much to say.
I don't have the kind of power that strong mayor's positions have.
Well, you do have a lot of power.
I have power sitting up here and talking to the press and talking to the people.
Number one, you have sole appointments to the planning board.
Yes.
Okay, so anytime there's a problem with the planning board, people don't like it.
State rule, state law.
That's the planning board. That means you appointed everyone
On the planning.
without the approval of the council.
On the planning board.
Okay?
On the planning board.
Huh?
On the planning board.
Yeah.
Okay.
Board of Recreation, but first let me preface. Every member that you had the majority, except for, I think, 2 years.
Okay.
Okay? You handpicked everybody that ran.
Yeah.
Because you had the county committee set up. Remember, I was part of the Republican Party. Okay?
George, you're talking about when you were elected to the council, the first time I ran with you.
Right.
And that was 1972. And you decided at that time that you were really a Democrat because you bounced back and forth ever since.
What am I?
You're a Republican and you're a Democrat, then you're a Republican. Come on, George.
No. You don't know what you're talking about.
I know what I'm talking about.
I'm a fairly fiscal conservative. Okay? I came from Patterson where my father...
George, I don't want to go through your history.
But I was a big Democrat. My father was a big
I think
Democrat.
you still are.
Okay? But remember, I ran as a Republican because I felt the philosophy was more in line with how I felt. Not because I was going back and forth. I don't go back and forth. I know what I'm talking about.
You have a question to the board?
What's wrong?
No, I just don't...
You brought up a point that was wrong. Again, like you always say, you're never wrong.
That's right.
Well, you never
I may
say-
not always be right, but I'm never wrong.
You never say anything that's not true. And you do, I can catch you and
George, you've been bringing up the sewer business, you've been bringing up Fleischer Brook for the last 15 years. Have you...
done
nothing?
for 15 years.
Listen, George, let me tell you that we have this project at the Snag, which was about $160,000. We just got community development money 2 years ago, which was $140,000. And then we got $60,000 on top of that, which came to $200,000. And this year alone, Mr. Nestori, on the community development. I am the liaison to community development. We got another $215,000 to fix Fleischer Brook in Garfield. Never once did I hear Mr. Nestori come in and say, I'd like to thank the council for getting this money to fix it.
No,
We're doing everything we can.
Here's the problem, Mayor. Number one, we were getting infiltrated, the Fleischer.
Oh, we're back to infiltration. I'm talking.
No. Wait. And you were getting these grants automatically. You didn't get them yourself.
No,
Because you were anti-grants.
Mr. Nestori, realistically, what person on this council or anywhere else can be anti-grants? The only person, and I know one, and I won't mention his name because I don't want to argue, voted against the county coming in and fixing a culvert. And that was about $180,000 many years ago, came on the council and voted no.
Well, I don't know who you're talking about.
Well,
Okay, but anyhow.
if you use a little logic, you'll find out who's been here longest.
I brought people to you that were professional grant seekers, and you turned them away.
Like who?
This is when money was prevalent, and you turned them away.
I don't turn anybody away, George.
You were a freeholder for 20 years?
23.
23. I had freeholders tell me, Mulder didn't do anything for your town. How come? I said, talk to him. I don't know. You had the ability.
Mr. Nestori, I hate to interrupt you. Did we fix every culvert in town?
Huh?
Have we replaced?
You don't understand one thing. The culverts were bringing water in faster and leaving it slower. Okay?
Mr.
You still
Nestori.
don't understand that concept.
Yes, okay.
All right?
Okay.
You were bringing in the culvert. You opened it up by Saddlebrook Fair Lawn, so the water comes in faster.
I never opened
But
a
you
culvert
didn't
at Saddlebrook and Fair Lawn. We don't have a culvert on Saddlebrook and Fair Lawn, George.
No, coming from Saddlebrook.
All right, I'm going to keep quiet and you can rant on.
No, Mayor, you play these games with the word verbiage and everything, and you don't listen. You sit up there and pontificate, and you laugh, and the rest of your council members that were your majority, your handpicked people that voted everything that you wanted, and you were like an imperial president up there. Okay? We don't need that. You were never a team player. You were never a team player.
Mr. Story, we got 10 minutes, and then you have to end because they won't put anything on TV.
Okay.
Do you have anything else?
Yeah, but wait a minute.
Excuse me, Mayor.
Yeah.
Why would you stop Mr. Nestori from talking when?
There's a time limit. Well, he can continue. I'm just saying to you that they're going to not put anything on TV. We can stay here till 12 o'clock. If you have anything else, if there's anybody else in the audience who wants to speak, one more. So if you want to use up all the time or you want somebody else, you can come back again,
Why did you
George.
say that before?
He just handed it to me.
Yeah, but, let me see. By the way, the contract that you had revised, where you can't walk away with sick leave, accumulated this, accumulated that, and we come up with tremendous package. Why did it take you so long that you were up there, and now you had retirements from Chief Hookie on back to Frank, working with these contracts, and then you let these people walk away with a tremendous amount of money, and then you knock people in the paper for taking it. That's not right. They're doing what you allow them to do, and you agreed to do.
State law allowed them to do it.
Huh?
State law allowed them to do it.
Yeah, but you...
State law allowed them to do it.
Not state law. Your contract that you agreed to, that you negotiated over the years allowed that to happen.
Binding arbitration allows that. If they negotiate and that's what they get, binding arbitration does it. We didn't have a problem before binding arbitration came in.
How come you can do it now and you can't
We
do it
can't.
before?
Well, there's certain laws that the governor has passed that allows us to do it, but that's retroactive.
But how come...
That's retroactive, George.
You could have at least tried to put a cap on something.
We tried to put a cap on it, George. How many times do you have to? They have binding arbitration, George. You have to sit in on that sometimes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? How much time we have, Mr.?
3 minutes.
3 minutes before we go off, and then you can continue when the time goes off.
I need an exit from you if we do that.
Excuse me?
I need an official exit from you if we do that.
Oh, we have to adjourn the meeting?
In order to stop the meeting before
Okay, you got 3 minutes. We're going to adjourn the meeting.
Rich DiLorenzo, 166 Hillman Drive. Just want to bring up some points about the Rec Commission. Back in 2013, Councilman Petigano did go on a fact-finding mission, mentioning in council chambers that he was interested in pursuing disbanding the Recreation Board. Back in January of 2014, at the Recreation Installation meeting, I point blank asked Mr. Petigano, are you considering disbanding the Recreation Board? And at that meeting, he announced yes. So the commission, for the last almost 5 months now, has been waiting to see what was going to happen. Now, without the knowledge of what could happen, lately the council decided to draft up a copy after 3-4 months of thinking about what they were going to do. There were things passed around about making a commission a 3-person panel. Then I came at last month's meeting, and I believe the councilman described everyone as doing a wonderful job and that everyone would be staying. I think the whole thing has been handled poorly, unprofessionally. If that was the case, in January, something written, a draft, should have been proposed to the Recreation Commission. We would have had plenty of time to review it, all come in, and the mayor is absolutely correct. This has been jammed down everyone's throats. I think it's been just a kind of a off-the-cuff decision. It has been poorly planned, and I think that the Rec Commission has been doing a wonderful job. And as Councilman Bonsino stated, it was just a Mickey Mouse affair here in that council chambers at the last meeting when the commissioners walked out, as the mayor proposed. Well, if the commission is going to be doing all this work, you're talking about disbanding it. So what's it going to be? And he's absolutely correct. I think it was the right thing to do, and every commissioner at that meeting felt that that was handled very poorly. And we did get up and leave, and I would do it again in a heartbeat. And that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. The tape has to be concluded. We have to adjourn the meeting, otherwise they won't put it on. They think we cut something out. So I'm going to ask for a motion to close the public portion. Mr. Bonsino, Mr. Catamagna, all in favor, opposed, and I'm going to ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Mr. Coletti, second by Mr. Bonsino, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? So ordered. Thank you for coming. And how much time we have on there? Okay, I just want to indicate again to you that if you want to watch this again, you can watch it on cable channel 77, Tuesday at 12 noon, Thursday at 4 p.m., and Friday at 10 a.m., or you can watch it on our website.